getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
Hello, welcome to episode 18 of the Weekly Song Podcast. My name is Roger Heathers, and with me, as every week, is my co-host...
Declan Kitchener. There's something wrong. Look over there. There's a thing.
I've got to admit, for a second there, I forgot we were being filmed. I was kind of getting too into character talking to the microphone, whereas I'm actually being filmed by a load of lovely cameras.
Yeah, for those of you in the audio who cannot understand what on earth we're on about, we're now doing a, video compilation thing on YouTube of each podcast, but we are still doing the audio podcast as well.
That's right.
So we've got to play for two audiences, and I'm very confused already.
I mean, we're barely good at playing for one audience, so
yeah, exactly.
This is kind of a challenge for us. For anyone who's new to this podcast, what we kind of do is we give ourselves 7 days, we give ourselves 1 week to write a song from complete scratch. We don't share the songs with each other, and then we each bring a song to this podcast and play them for each other for the first time. And then we kind of take them apart and rip the guts out and talk about songwriting and the craft of songwriting.
And we ruin our friendship, and we never speak to each other again until the next week when we pretend to be all smiles, but we have a deep, bitter resentment for each other.
Oh, you should see it when the mics and cameras go off.
Yeah.
It's not pretty.
No. He used the word flipping once.
And I'll use it again. Also what we do is we kind of take it in turns of who goes first each week, don't we?
Yes, and I believe this week it is your turn to go first.
That's right. Oh boy. Okay, so this week I took a little while to get my song together, as I think you did too.
Yes.
Probably a little bit longer than you did. I was really busy the last week, and so I gave myself 2 days to write the song, and luckily I did it within 2 days' time. But I didn't think it was going to come, and I got something. Right, anyway, without any further ado or hullabaloo, I'm gonna play you my song. It's on piano this week, so
Hooray.
There's gonna be a little bit of a cut here, a professional little cut.
No, it won't. I'm editing.
And the next time you see me, I'll be magically on piano. This thing won't stay open.
It's kind of like my heart.
So what I'm gonna do... That's a terrible way to start.
What I'm going to do is play a song.
Okay, the song's called Winner's Circle, and it sounds like this. They found out that there were several other planets, so they built their spaceships and they walked away. Engaged the mayor in some convivial conversation and burnt all of their bridges on one day. One day I will be fierce and strong, just like you said I would be as a man. But here I am, just watching as your jet streams leave the atmosphere. I found out that there were several other reasons for my anxious disposition from the start, keeping me within 1,000 square kilometers, 620 miles inside this farm. And that's about the time that all that cake came in, and all the potatoes left the floor. I just can't take it anymore. Everything seems boring to me now. We've got no sound on our TV screen. Oh, it's a miracle of life that we can see 1,000 faces, even when there's no one else around. I will be strong and fierce, just like you said I would be as a man. But here I am, just watching as your jet streams leave the atmosphere.
That's amazing.
Oh,
play it again.
Thank you. Again. Yeah, thank you. I've made a couple of hiccups in there, but I guess that's kind of the nature of doing a podcast where you kind of do it on the spot. But that's kind of the gist of the song. So thank you.
That's pretty cool. I get a very John Grant vibe off of that. Like if John Grant didn't sing, if John Grant like had the highest voice in the universe. It's like that piano ballad with the sort of spacey feel and everything like that. Bits you're saying, I will be strong and fierce, like you told me I'd be when I was a man, and things like that. That's really cool. I like that. I like that a lot.
I knew the John Grant thing would come up because Declan and I, we've both been listening to
Queen of Denmark.
Yeah, an album by John Grant, which is
We literally just sat in a car the other day, like listening to it, like all the way through, and then just at the end we just went, man, that's good.
Yeah, it makes you remember what good music is.
Yeah.
But that was a really nice little experience we had.
Yeah.
Drove all the way back from an open mic to your house at like middle of the night, listening to that album. By the time we got back to yours, it was the last track, but we weren't finished with the album, so we just kind of sat there in silence and shared a moment of silence. Well, not silence, John Grant silence.
Yeah.
But anyway, I knew the comparison would come up because it's a true comparison. One thing about the Queen of Denmark album, which we both noticed, is there's quite a lot of like space references. And I was saying, like, I reckon he was like a sci-fi fan, or at least at the time was watching sci-fi movies and stuff, because there's like references to Alien and like outer space and Mars and blah blah blah, all this type of outer space stuff. Before I started listening to Queen of Denmark again in a big way, I already had this idea in my head of these people living on a small planet in a galaxy full of planets that are occupied, but they live in their little insular world, and they've never left the planet. But these like young teenagers, they find out that there's life on other planets, and so they go, well, screw this, I'm not living here anymore, it's boring, and then they just build spaceships that day and leave. It's kind of like a kid's story mixed with like a sci-fi thing. So I had that before I listened to the John Grant album and heard all these space references. Then I got into John Grant.
Yeah.
And then the song kind of was very influenced by that. Just songs like Where the Dreams Go to Die and Caramel and just all the great songs from that album.
Yeah, it's also a little bit of, what is it? Silver Platter Club in the middle.
Yes, yeah. Oh man, yeah, I was playing it in the, because I have a piano in my kitchen. I was playing it to my sister and I was going, oh, what do you think of my new song? And she went, that's just Silver Platter Club, Roger. And I went...
It's annoying when that happens,
and I just went, dude, shut up, you!
Yeah. You don't know anything.
But
can you play me a minor suspended seventh?
But yeah, that bit, that's one of the main cock-ups I had in that performance, was that whole, and that's about the time the cake came in. That's all supposed to be boomed, 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 but I kind of screwed up. But yeah, when there's actually a demo version of this out, you'll be able to hear it properly. Let me think. I'm trying to think if I can say about like how the song was written.
Yeah, because you said you were experiencing a bit of writer's block this week as well. Like, how did that affect the song?
Usually with writer's block, what I'll do is I'll just have enough of it, and then I'll sit down and just make myself write a song, and I'm usually afraid that it's going to come out badly. And pretty much every time it comes out where I go, I like that. I don't know what I was worried about. So the writer's block happened for like 5 of the 7 days I had, and then I just sat down at the piano. And it was just one of those lovely things where I just kind of sat down and I went... In fact, I was making a cup of coffee and some toast for breakfast. I just went, I've got to write a song today. I'll just go to the piano and just play something. If nothing happens, fine. Yeah. And I just kind of sat down and I went... Which is obviously the verse, so it just spilled out. And it's nothing special, that's just 1, 3, 4 to 1. It's, normal traditional chord progression. But then I had this lyric in my head, and I not often do I just have the lyrics on their own usually, but I had this lyric written on my whiteboard at home. They found out that there were other planets, so they built their spaceships and they left the ground. And I was like, okay, I got that chord progression. I was like, they found out that there were other planets. No, they found it. And I was like, trying to like sculpt it to. They found out that there were several other planets, and I was like, that lyric just fits so nicely on top of the chords.
Yeah.
And so I had that, and then I was kind of like trying to get a bridge, and I thought I don't want to just do the normal rundown of like E minor, D, C, G. So I accidentally kept on playing an E minor with my right hand and moved down the chords with my left hand, so you get this weird, nice suspension like.
Yeah, because that's something that is a bit, well, I don't know that it's unusual because you and I are the only people I've been able to check this against.
Right.
But in your left hand, like whereas I play on piano, I play just a bass note. You play chords in your left hand as well as in the right hand, or at least the 1 and the 5.
The 1 and the 5 usually, yeah.
Yeah, so that helps you build up sections like that, which is kind of cool.
It is, yeah, because it makes a nice suspension, and that's something that you can't do quite as easily on guitar.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nice. I suppose the last thing is also like lyrically. When I was playing my sister the song, I was like, I don't know why I do this, but sometimes with lyrics, I say to people like, "Could you guess what they're about?" Because like, I have really weird, esoteric, strange lyrics, and then she's quite good at guessing, and she was like, don't know, isolation, wanting to change where you are, kind of like Clover. And I went, yeah, you got it. So that's kind of what the lyrics are about.
I was wondering, like, with the whole like travel in the space and going to somewhere else theme, like, what that was about, and how I know.
Yeah, what happened with the bridge was, I also had this other, section that I come up with, but I just came up with it at work. A friend of mine called John, who was actually a listener to the podcast.
Hello, John.
Hello, John. He came into work the other day for his birthday, and he came in for a meal and with his wife and kids, blah blah blah, and his wife bought a cake in for him, right? And then so what we do at the restaurant I work at is we'll if someone comes up to us and goes, "Hey, we got this cake for our friend or our husband. Do you mind if you cut it up and then after the meal you bring it out and sing happy birthday?" And like, of course, we say yeah, and we brought it out to him. And then when they'd finished with the cake, they had some left over, and then he obviously said to one of the waiters or waitresses on the floor, "Would you mind taking some of this for Roger up at the top, because I was on the bar, and divide it amongst the other waiters?" And then that's where that lyric came from, because somebody bought cake in and they came up to me, I was serving a customer, and they went, "There's cake in the pot wash for you." And then I just noticed, like, just very suddenly all the waiters on the floor who were like serving, they just kind of like went into the pot wash, and it was just a room full of people eating cake. And it's the same room that the guy ate the burgers at the end of the night in Find It Where It Comes.
Oh, Find It Where It Comes, yeah.
Yeah, so that room is like a proper songwriting hub for ideas.
Like when you do your interview in years' time when you're famous and everything, you say, where was the inspiration for a lot of your songs? It was just from eating in the back room at work. I don't know why I've become a brumhead, but
I'm gonna move to Birmingham and just like really pick up the accent
and go down about 5 octaves as well, apparently.
Yeah. But that is about all I can think to say about the song, unless you have any questions about how it was written or anything.
There was like one run in the bridge. I can't remember precisely where it was. I just want to ask you what the chords, because they sounded lovely.
The bridge, would that be the cake section?
I think that was, yeah.
Okay. I'll play it again for you, and then you just point out which bit it is. And also I get the chance to play it right this time. And that's about the time that all that cake came in and all the waiters left the floor.
Is that just moving up the root note by a semitone, but keeping the chord the same?
It is. It's moving it up by a semitone, but putting an E in the bass. So instead of it being, you get.
That's cool.
So it's basically an E major 7.
Oh right. Because the first chord is like a C, isn't it? No, it's not. What is it?
No. So the whole song's in G. So G major, and then basically E7. Or E major 7. I always get those two mixed up. And then A minor, C minor, or C minor 2, it's got a D in it too.
That's a cool set of chords.
Yeah, I'm really interested in my
It's very you.
twos at the moment. It's just very me. I thought, is this too me for the purposes of writing the song? But I guess yeah. So and then there's that whole like run up, which is actually stolen. Which is, I can't write a song without stealing someone else's song.
No, apparently you can't.
It's Peter Gabriel's "The Drop," which goes, "Walking down the Fuselon." And I've stolen that before for another song, but I can't remember which one it was. But Joe once was listening to Peter Gabriel's album. It's the last song on the album, and he just texted me and went, "You've stolen this, haven't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got to admit it."
Right, I suppose we've got to do my song now, I suppose.
We do. It is your time.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you might have noticed a change in the video quality. Our first camera died because we're not professional at this at all. Literally. Literally, we are not very good at this. Right, yeah, my song, it's kind of a weird one. Well, not weird, it's not particularly odd or anything, but it's just kind of a weird process of getting to it. It's called Just Say What's on Your Mind. Just to annoy all the audio listeners out there. And probably some of the visual ones as well. Anyway, goes enough blabbering, goes like this. No, it's harder than it looks to lose your self-control. Plans with meanings all it took. Now she had your soul. If only she would talk to you. As you work out how to speak, I write your own in words. And the meaning that's unique, I bring it screaming over time. Just say what's on your mind. Stop waiting for a perfect sign. You do this every time. If only she would talk to you. Walking slowly to the bar. So now's your perfect chance. Just go and tell her who you are. Begin this verbal dance. 'Cause even when you have found your words, you'd rather drink another beer. Even I could tell you what to do. Your perfect chance is always here. Just say what's on your mind. Is waiting for a perfect sign. You do this every time. Start working on your perfect line. Just say what's on your mind. Hopefully, my thoughts align. You do this every time. If only she would talk to you. So I messed up the words halfway through that.
That's awesome. I really like that.
Oh, thank you.
That is a cool song. And the first thing that struck me was like the first passage. You got a minor fourth in there, and then you got those triumph chords, as I like to call them, that they go up. It's just a really weird, cool chord progression.
That sort of 70s thing. It's...
Yeah, exactly. But then you have got a minor 4 in there, right?
I honestly couldn't tell you what key this is in, but I think... Hang on. That'd be a minor 5.
Minor 5.
So
They're
maybe-
interesting.
If it's in B flat, that is. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
It's really hard to tell what key it's in, isn't it? It's not like... Because it kind of jumps around where the... I don't know... The beats are, as far as where you think the chords are going to go, which is a really cool thing. And it's very... Like you said about mine, it's very you, those chords.
Yeah, what it means is that I just don't know how scales work.
That can be an asset as well as
Yeah.
a bad thing.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, it's kind of odd coming up with this one this week. Like, it started off on a piano. It was a much more. It was in G, and it was a much more sedate thing, like all that sort of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Obviously on the piano instead, but then it's one of those things where you think, oh, it's nice, but it's slow. I know. I'll do it on guitar.
And then you changed the key, right? You were playing it in like starting chord G.
Yeah.
When you did that a minute ago, weren't you?
Yes. Well, I changed it to B flat because I realised I couldn't quite. I was singing quite high and I couldn't get the top notes, which were not that note. Where is it? It's down 3. So 1, 2. Let it fall. She could talk to you. But like I was singing that an octave higher, and that's way beyond my range. So I just decided to shift everything up, but sing it lower.
Okay.
Yeah, which is like a basic trick when you can't sing. Yeah, but I had that, like the whole music, for about most of the week, and I just couldn't write the words for it. The only thing that was coming through when I was sort of like mumbling through it, trying to find something, was the just say what's on my mind. But I sat in bed Sunday morning, not Sunday morning, Friday morning. No, Saturday morning. It was a morning.
One of the mornings.
Yeah. I sat in bed on Saturday morning and started writing lyrics about me, and then I thought, now, hang on, this isn't how I feel.
Right.
But I have spotted this behaviour in a lot of people I know. So I was like, right, okay, I can do a She Loves You kind of thing. And,
that's exactly what I thought when you were playing it, yeah.
Like, it's kind of a reported thing, like, literally, mate, she likes you, go up, tell her.
Yeah.
And then get a slap in the face and it'll be fine. But it's I've done that before, like in a couple of old songs which you haven't even heard. Like, this was a long time ago. But I like writing about other people and how they mess up.
Yeah.
So like a couple of my friends all have songs written about them.
Right.
You're not one of them. You're not one
Yes.
of them. Yeah. You've escaped so far.
It's only a matter of time, though.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't play any of them anymore because they were rubbish songs. But
Right.
like, I don't know. I just sometimes I don't know if you get this, but like writing lyrics about yourself, sometimes it's the easiest thing in the world, but then just sometimes you've just got nothing to say at that point. Like, well, I'm relatively content in my life, and you know, there's no major catastrophe going on. Everyone's in good health. Fuck it, I'm just going to write a song about someone else for a change.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I hear you, and if you force it, it's like you end up writing really melodramatic, wordy lyrics, and they're not genuine.
Like basically emo lyrics. Like, there are one or two emo bands that I love, but like you just get like into this, or like I'm pain, I'm the night, and then my coffee didn't arrive. Oh, fantastic. I am darkness incarnate, and like it's like. Ooh.
I genuinely looked to see if there was coffee there then.
Yeah. That's the power of acting.
Exactly.
I think that's about all I have to say about that one.
So, I've got a question for you. You said you started on piano. Did you have the entire song on piano and then you moved it to guitar, or did you have like a kind of the seed of the song and then you wrote the majority of it on guitar?
No, I had... that.
Okay.
And then everything else came afterwards. Because like going up to those chords is a very guitar thing for me to do. That's kind of like one of my shortcuts.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I like the whole song. It's so, and I'm stealing what you're saying now, but it's so you. It's like some really cool guitar writing with, definitely your style lyrics. And I think the whole thing of like doing like reportage lyrics where you're talking about somebody else. I think
is that what it's called?
Probably not. I'm probably just embarrassing myself, but
that's fine. Just so long as you don't tell.
Well, reportage is like saying something that happened. It's just reporting, but it's just the word for that. I think that's the hallmark of an evolving songwriter. So I think that's a great thing.
Hooray! I'm evolving. Maybe I'll get a third arm.
Maybe it'll become Char-E-Zarrddd.
Char-E-Zarrddd. Well done. Nicely crawled back at the last minute.
Char-E-Zarrddd. I know about pop culture.
Yeah. Ooh, look at that. Is he Pokemons?
Pokemons. I know about Nicki Minaj.
Oh dear. Right, so that's it from the Weekly Song Podcast episode episode 18.
18.
And episode 1 of the video one. How the numbering is going to get so confusing now.
Because then I've also got weekly song 29. This is weekly song 29 for me, episode 18 for us, and episode 1 for the video.
It's just like weekly song 22 for me, 20.
Oh god, no, you're confusing me now.
Episode 1 of the video and episode 18 of the actual podcast. So yeah,
it all gets written down though, so we're pretty good.
This is lovely and organised for everybody like trying to hop on right now.
But yeah, thank you for listening, and thank you for tuning into our 3rd season together.
Yeah,
as an actual podcast.
As an actual podcast.
First episode on the video. For those of you who want to hear more, you can go to our SoundCloud and you can search Weekly Song Podcast, and you've got every episode there to listen to. You can email us at weeklysongpodcast@gmail.com if you have any questions, comments. If you're a songwriter and you want to send us a song, we can play it on the podcast. If you want to come on and be a guest, that is the same email you can contact us on.
Yeah.
And Weekly Songs 15 to 28, shameless plug, is out now.
It's now £1 out on your Bandcamp.
That's right, rogerheathers.com. Yeah. And yeah. And we both got bad throats today, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's not the best thing for a podcast.
I was going to say, I've been singing all weekend, so I tried to sing my song earlier today. It's like I was the hoarsest thing in the air. No more. Sorry.
But yeah, I suppose that's it for this week.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
Nope.
That was the title of a podcast. Declan, anything to add? No. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for listening, and we will see you again next week, which will be Wednesday.
Cool. See you next week. Ta-ra.
Ta-ra.